Forests and woods cover a quarter of Polish soil. In the east, near the Soviet border, is the largest and last primeval forest in Central Europe, the Białowieża. The Białowieża forest contains 250,000 acres. Most of it lies inside the Soviet Union, but Poland has turned her part into a national park. Rangers patrol the trails regularly to ensure that the park's rules are obeyed. The regulations are enacted to protect the natural life within the forest. No flowers can be picked, no cars are allowed, and all wildlife is protected. Among the animals being protected is this rare and beautiful creature known as the zubri. It's Europe's only surviving wild bison and bears a certain family resemblance to the American buffalo. In southern Poland, at the foot of Wawel Hill, is a city many people consider to be the most beautiful in all of Poland, Krakow, the only major city that wasn't destroyed by Hitler's bombs. Krakow's old-world charm is still intact, from the cobblestone streets to the spires that reach for the sky. Krakow was the capital of Poland for over 3 centuries and the home of Polish kings until the end of the 1500s. During this period, Krakow was known throughout Europe as a center of art and culture. At the heart of the city is one of the great market squares in all of Europe. Its cafes, flower vendors, arts, crafts, and music make this the hub of Krakow's public life. When you add to that the arcade of the Cloth Hall and a flock of pigeons, it suddenly looks a bit like the Piazza San Marco in Venice. An Italian influence is also apparent in the city's royal residence, Wawel Castle. The courtyard was designed by 2 of Italy's most renowned Renaissance architects, and today is the setting for open-air concerts. 71 of the interior rooms have been restored and are used to exhibit some exquisite pieces of art. The most famous is a collection of 136 Flemish tapestries from the 16th and 17th centuries. Commissioned by King Sigmund Augustus, they depict biblical scenes for the most part, although several with hunting themes have also survived. This collection is reputed to be the largest of its kind in Europe today. The most unusual sight, though, is in the Chamber of Deputies. Carved into the ceiling are 30 wooden heads depicting members of the court around 1535. In the Royal Treasury Room, you can see the jagged sword used to coronate all Polish kings, as well as silver plates, jeweled goblets, knightly armor, and royal robes. Across the courtyard from the castle is Wawel Cathedral, surrounded by 18 chapels in a variety of styles. The former administrative head of this church was Cardinal Karol Wojtyła. We know him today as Pope John Paul II. Beginning in 1320, this is where every Polish king was crowned and where most are buried. It is actually the third cathedral to stand on this spot. An 11th century crypt remains as the only reminder of earlier structures. A walk along the tombs and monuments is a walk through Poland's past in the company of its kings, queens, and heroes. One of Krakow's favorite heroes was an ordinary watchman in the tower of St. Mary's Church back in 1241. Catching sight of invading Tartars, he sounded his trumpet in alarm. Suddenly, in mid-tune, an enemy arrow pierced his throat, making him immortal. To this day, his haunting melody is repeated every hour on the hour and broadcast every day at noon on Polish radio, always ending on the very same note the watchman was sounding when he was struck down. Inside the cathedral itself is a masterpiece of medieval wood carving, the triptych created by Wits de Vosges, depicting the Assumption of the Blessed Virgin. The figures of Mary and the apostles appear almost lifelike. Their robes seem to drape like the softest cloth and glisten as if made by golden thread. Not far from Krakow is the little town of Oswiecim. Once a pleasant village set among the hills and woods, it came to the world's attention after World War II under its German name, Auschwitz. And it was under that name that it became associated with death, suffering, and immeasurable cruelty. Auschwitz was the largest of Hitler's death camps, designed to exterminate 15,000 people a day. Today, it is a national museum dedicated to the 4 million men, women, and children from all over Europe who were imprisoned there. No one with a soul can visit the camp without being deeply affected by the horrors committed here against humanity. Gas chamber, crematoria, firing squads. This camp alone was responsible for the deaths of 3 million people. A tour of Auschwitz is not a pleasant trip, yet nearly everyone who has ever been here agrees that it should be seen just to make sure that nothing like it can ever happen again. The village of Wadowice, just a short drive west of Krakow, is the place where Pope John Paul II was born. In the town market square, there's a church that was built in the 15th century, while nearby is the former home of the Pope, now a museum devoted to his life and work. Pope John Paul II was born Karol Wojtyła in 1920. As a boy, he read philosophy, wrote poetry, and played soccer. During World War II, he joined the underground and fought against the Nazis. After the war, he was ordained as a priest, and in 1978 became the first Pole ever to be elected Pope. As a matter of fact, John Paul II is the first non-Italian to be elected pope in more than 450 years. His personal style and charisma have made him the most popular pope in recent memory. After his election, the new pontiff and Cardinal Kroll of Philadelphia entertained the Conference of Cardinals by singing Polish folk songs at dinner. When A World Away returns, we'll show you the breathtaking beauty of the Polish peaks.